Hey guys, our recipe today is going to start with ciabatta bread. It's one of my favorite breads, and it's my first choice for this application. Now the key to this beautiful bread is a pre-fermentation called a Poolish. A pre-ferment improves taste, texture, color, structure, and shelf life. So into the bowl of a stand mixer, we're adding 200 grams of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of instant yeast, and 200 grams of lukewarm water. Mix until combined, and it should resemble a too thick pancake batter. Now we're going to cover this and let it rest at room temperature for 8 hours. 8 hours later, it should be bubbly and it should smell yeasty. Now I'm going to cover it again and let this chill overnight before we move on to the next step. Alright guys, it's the next day and I'm going to attach a paddle attachment to my stand mixer. I do recommend using a stand mixer because this will be a very hydrated, wet, sticky dough and it can be a little difficult to work with. To the Poolish, we're going to add 340 grams of lukewarm water, between 500 and 550 grams of bread flour, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast, and 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. We're going to mix this until just combined and then switch over to the dough hook. We're going to knead this on a low speed for 7 to 8 minutes. Now we're going to transfer our dough to a lightly floured surface, and I'm going to add about 7 large cloves of garlic to the dough. You can add as much or as little as you like. Lightly flour my hands and knead it all together. Now if we're going to make garlic bread, we're going to make it literal. Once your garlic cloves are well incorporated and you've formed a dough ball, lightly oil a large clean bowl, transfer your dough into it, cover with a clean kitchen towel, and after 30 minutes I'm going to lightly grease a rubber spatula and fold the dough over on itself towards the center 4 times while rotating the bowl all the way around. This is going to help develop the gluten, which is going to make a better bread in the end. We're going to repeat this step 2 more times, waiting 30 minutes in between each. Let the dough rest for a total of 2 hours. Afterwards, we're going to transfer our dough onto a lightly floured surface once again, divide the dough in half, and manipulate it into a loaf shape. It definitely does not have to be perfect. It's okay if we're going for something a little more rustic here. Transfer to a parchment-lined or silpat-lined baking sheet. And we're going to cover this and let it rest for another 45 minutes. I know many hours have gone into this dough, but it will be worth it. Scout's honor. While that rests, we're going to start our roasted garlic herb butter. Slice a large head of garlic in half and wrap it in a foil pack with a touch of oil and a touch of salt. We're going to roast this at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes to an hour or until the garlic is golden and tender. We're going to finally chop some fresh parsley. You definitely don't need as much as I'm using right here. Now for the cheesy part of our bread, I have a beautiful smoked cheddar. I love the smoky flavor, but you can use whatever cheese you would like or that you can find. A combination of cheeses would be ideal, like mozzarella, Asiago, and Parmesan. And when it comes to how much, I always measure cheese with my heart. In a bowl, add 1 stick of unsalted butter, some of our chopped parsley, a pinch of kosher salt, a pinch of freshly cracked black pepper, and we're just going to squeeze in our fragrant, gorgeous garlic. If any of the skin falls in, you can just pick it out, no big deal. Mix until well combined with a spoon or with your gloved hand, no need to be precious about it, and then just set it aside at room temperature. Returning to our dough, we want to create steam in the oven, so we're going to give our loaves a little spritz of water, and then we're going to bake these at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes, and then lower the heat to 400 degrees and bake for another 12 to 15 minutes, or until golden brown and an internal temperature of 200 degrees. Now these turned out so beautiful, I'll let you hear my unfiltered reaction when I open the oven.
Ooh, baby, these are beautiful! I'm so excited!
Once these have completely cooled, I'm going to slice the loaf in half and admire the fluffy inside with its beautiful little air pockets, and where you can see the cloves of roasted garlic. Now we're going to spread our butter generously, crust to crust, and then pile on the cheese. I have to be somewhat modest for my lactose intolerant partner. Bake in a 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for 15 to 20 minutes or until the cheese is melted and bubbly. Broil for 2 minutes if you needed to get it extra golden and crisp. Now, if your family is hungry and has waited several hours for this bread in particular, you may have to pull it just a few minutes early. Now, you can see how phenomenal this turned out. It's crisp, fluffy, airy. The roasted garlic has a sweetness to it. Roasted garlic just tastes so good on its own that you could eat alone with a spoon. Bread is buttery, it's warm, has a nice, bold, smoky flavor from the cheese. I would not be exaggerating at all by calling it irresistible. Slice and serve to your friends and/or family, or you can eat alone on the couch while you binge watch Netflix. I will not judge you if you choose the latter. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and recipe. If you did, consider liking it and commenting and subscribing to the channel. Links to my Etsy and personal channel are below. Thank you guys, and see you next time.
Ooh, look at that! They're all puffy and beautiful! So excited it worked! Alright, I should probably calm down.